Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My last video was in New York and I'm sure it was about 2 weeks ago at this stage, and normally I'd have at least like 1 or 2 up a week, but I got back from New York and I had my 21st birthday like straight away. So I was home for 2 days and I went straight into my 21st, so I was up the walls with that. And then, as many of you would probably know from watching my recent videos, I actually had the release of my app this week as well, which has been absolutely manic. I'm so grateful for how the launch went, but I have been up the walls doing emails. I planned on doing this video so many times, but honestly guys, I've been spending like 12 hours a day at the laptop, but I'm not complaining in the slightest. I'm so happy with how the launch went, and I'm so happy to have so many girls on board. So if any of you are new to this channel, with the app I basically launched my own coaching program. So I'm doing completely customized meal plans and training programs, and I'm basically taking on online clients. If you do have any questions about my coaching, then I'm going to leave the email on the screen now for you to get onto me. So enough about that anyway. The main topic of today's video is going to be all about glute training, because it's one of the most commonly asked questions I get in my DMs, and who doesn't want bigger glutes? So I'm going to be speaking about the things you could be doing wrong, why you're not seeing progress if you feel like you're doing everything right, and just talk about the different aspects of growing your glutes, or just growing any body part, to be honest. So first things first, let's talk about your training split. So some reasons your glutes might not be growing is because you're either training with too much volume per session, you might be having too many glute sessions, or else you're not training enough. It's really important to know how to find the happy medium between overtraining and then just not training hard enough. So it's really important to find the perfect amount of time to train your glutes per week. And bear in mind, this may vary each week depending on your sleep and recovery. So if you're going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week and absolutely killing a glute session, then you're most likely training too much. You're not giving yourself enough time to recover, and you won't get the results you're looking for. So in my opinion, training glutes 4 times a week is honestly just too much for any natural female. You need to remember that your muscles won't grow if you're training them every second day, and that less is often more when it comes to your training split. Another reason your glutes might not be growing is if you are training them the correct amount of times per week, let's say 2 to 3 times a week. But while you're there, you're doing a ridiculous amount of volume. So let's say you go into the gym, you're training glutes, you worked out your split to just train them twice or sometimes 3 times a week. But when you are there, you're doing like 20 sets of glute exercises. And that's another way that you will actually stunt your growth and recovery if your volume is just too much for what your body can handle. So just because you go into the gym and do loads of sets of glute exercises, it doesn't mean that your workout will be more effective than someone that does, let's say, 8 sets in total for their glutes. Which brings me to my next point, is the actual quality of your workout. You know, the saying goes quality over quantity, and that is absolutely my belief when it comes to training any body part. It doesn't matter if you do 6 sets or if you do 2 sets, you shouldn't need to do too many sets to actually feel a burn in your glutes. You often see people like speaking about how great their workout was, how many sets, how long they were at the gym, but the actual quality of their workout is poor, and that's why they're not getting results. So you need to make sure your intensity is super high, that you're really pushing yourself and you're giving your muscles a reason to grow. And that doesn't always mean that you have to do more. It often just means you have to give more to what you have planned out. So each person will differ with the amount of volume they can handle and the frequency they're able to recover from. But for me, over the past few years, I've found that 2 to 3 times per week to hit glutes is more than enough if you want to grow them. Some weeks I might only do 2 glute sessions because my recovery or my sleep wasn't good enough and I'm not feeling ready to hit a proper session again, and that's fine too. Each week will vary for every person, and if you're not ready to take on another session, then don't do it. Other weeks I do like 2 full leg days including glutes, and I might add in glutes to the end of an upper body workout as well if my sleep and recovery was good enough and if I'm feeling ready to hit them again. So as I said, when it comes to training, make sure your frequency is right and you have enough time to recover between sessions. Make sure your volume is sustainable and that you're able to recover from the volume in your sessions. As I said, less is often sometimes more when it comes to training, and the intensity of your workouts should be really good as well if you want to grow. So the next thing that comes to mind when you think about booty growth has to be the amount of calories you're eating and your diet. So for muscle growth, you must be in a calorie surplus, meaning you're eating more calories than your maintenance calories. So I often get people saying that they kind of want to get a smaller waist and drop their body fat percentage, but also want to grow their glutes. And in this situation, my advice is to definitely get to a body fat percentage that you're happy with first, and then from there go into a growing phase. I know many of us just want to do it at the same time and get lean but also grow your glutes, but guys, you can't grow muscle in a calorie deficit, and if you are growing any bit of muscle, it's going to be really minuscule, and it's just not the favored energy balance for muscle growth. So you must get into a calorie surplus, and if you're not happy to go into one yet and want to tone down first, then my advice is to definitely go ahead and do that. Do a cut for maybe 4 to 6 weeks, depending on where your body fat percentage is at now, and then build up from that gradually. And when you are going into a calorie surplus, you don't have to go into a big massive surplus from the start. I would say try do a lean gain as best you can and gradually build up your calories, as opposed to just flaking on a load of calories to your diet and expecting everything to go to your booty, because it won't. So another huge factor that comes into play when building your glutes or building any other body part is your sleep and recovery. I feel like this is a factor that's often overlooked in the fitness industry, that people just think, oh, if you're eating correctly and if you have an effective training split, you'll get all the results you need. When in reality, that isn't the case. If you have high stress levels, if you can't sleep at night, if you are able to sleep but your quality of sleep is really bad, then these will all affect your growth in the gym, and you must look after your sleep. So I personally have really poor stress management at the moment. I can put up my hand and say I just get super stressed over small things because I'm a perfectionist, and I can always feel it in my recovery when I'm stressed, because I struggle to fall asleep. I wake up stressed in the morning, and often my quality of sleep isn't great when I have stressful things going on around me. I can feel it in the recovery of my muscles straight away. So if you think you're doing everything right, if you have your diet on point, you're in a calorie surplus, your training split is effective, you have the right amount of volume, the right frequency, the right intensity, but you're not seeing the results, then you definitely should look into your stress management and your sleep. So we should all be aiming for at least 8 hours sleep a night. I would normally get like 7 to 8 hours and I feel really good after that, but even when I got back from New York, my sleeping pattern was all over the place. I was literally pulling all-nighters because of the app launch and getting back to everyone, so I felt it straight away when I was training this week. I was absolutely dying the next day. Like, my muscles were so sore, and it was all because of my sleeping pattern being ruined, even though my diet was perfect, and my stress management not being up to scratch either. So if you're getting a solid 8 hours sleep a night, if your stress management is good, then this will play a big factor in you being able to grow more muscle tissue and just recover better from your sessions. If you want to learn more about sleeping, then Matthew Walker is definitely the guy to look up. He actually has a book called Why We Sleep, and he has loads of videos on YouTube, like different interviews, and I honestly just think it's really interesting. So if you want to learn more about that, I definitely recommend looking up Matthew Walker and hearing about his research. So another thing to do with training and glute growth would definitely be your exercise selection. So if you have everything perfect but your exercise selection is kind of poor, then that can definitely show in your progress as well. So if you're like excluding all compound movements like hip thrusts, squats, leg press, deadlifts and things like that, and if you're picking more accessory work like just kickbacks or just banded work or exercises where you can't go that heavy, then it'll definitely show in your progress over time as well. So the goal when to grow any body part is to incorporate progressive overload into your sessions, and ye are probably blue in the face from hearing me speak about progressive overload. But for anyone that doesn't know what it is, it's basically adding more weight or more volume or reducing your rest periods as you work further into your program to make sure your body parts don't become used to the weight or the stimulus, and they should always be challenged more in each session for hypertrophy to occur. So if you're picking more like accessory work where it's difficult to up the weight or where they're just naturally done lighter because of the way the movement is done, then you should definitely look into adding more compound movements to your workouts where you can really load the weight and reap in the benefits of progressive overload. The last thing that comes to mind when it comes to glute growth is 100% giving yourself time. It will not happen overnight, guys. You won't just wake up one day after doing a booty workout with massive glutes. It takes a long time to change your body structure, especially as a girl, because we have such low percentage of testosterone. It's just naturally harder for us to build muscle. So you have to be patient, you have to give yourself time, you need to have enough rest and recovery, an effective training split, and an effective diet plan to work off. And if you're consistently working with all those factors in mind, then I can guarantee you'll be able to grow beautiful plump glutes over time. And of course this applies to all your other body parts as well. So in my own lower body workouts, I incorporate both kind of accessory work and compound movements as well, so I'm kind of hitting all angles. So I'd always have like a hip thrust or a barbell squat or leg presses in there, but I'd also have things like glute kickbacks as well, because they do have their place when isolating the glutes as well. I know there's lots of girls out there that would love to grow their glutes but keep their legs slim. That's personally not my goal. I like to get my legs as big as toned as I can. I know some girls do just want to focus on growing their glutes, and in this scenario that's when the isolation movements can really come into play, because things like hip thrusts and glute kickbacks and side kicks, they're all movements that just isolate the glutes and a little bit of hamstring, so they're good movements for just growing the glutes and avoiding growing your quads. So I think I covered everything to do with the booty growth, so I hope I helped you somewhat. And obviously guys, if you have any questions then just drop them in the comment section and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I do have a couple of announcements as well that I'll be able to tell you about really soon. So obviously it's nothing to do with the app or my coaching, you already know about that, but something else that I'm really excited to tell you about. So that will be coming over the next few videos. So other than that, I think that's it for today guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.